Hey everybody, how's it? Aloha. Okay, something new. This is a band called, if I get this wrong, I count on you guys to help me out with this. Sigur Ros, Sigur Ros, 2 words. And the name of the song, I'm going to get this wrong probably. Glósóli, maybe it's Glósóli. I don't know. Well, help me with that. Anyhow, I'm excited to do this band. I've had a series of people keep bombing me about it. I was like, all right, I'm on it, we're doing it. So I want to thank you guys for hanging in there, all your suggestions. I do want to bring to light really quick, for better or for worse, I opened up a TikTok, so that'll be down there too with all the other social media platforms if you want to make suggestions. I don't know if that's safe. I've had a lot of people go, dude, just ignore the comments. I guess it must be a big trolling place. Also, I've done well over 200 videos. There's a good chance that some of the bands or songs of bands you want me to do, I may have already done. So go to my front page of my YouTube channel and look at the little search spyglass and type in the band name and see what shows up. So let's do that. Let's do this. In support of the channel, as you know, if any ads run, it doesn't monetize this channel and it doesn't go towards me. If you like what you hear, if you feel like it, you want to buy me a cup of coffee, that link will be down below. Also helps me what I do with the kids. Also links for Sigur Ros, Spotify, merch, even the YouTube video of this song is going to be down below. So let's do this. Sigur Ros, Glósóli. All right. What beautiful tonal soundscapes that are going on here. There's so many different layers with these arrangements. And you know, when I say the word arrangements and compositions, they don't have to be complex. The choice of taking the right tonal soundscape. And what is that? Remember, I'm doing this for the pure listener. This isn't theoretical and stuff, but I always end up kind of dancing around in it a little bit. Kind of a tonal soundscape would be a sound that's chosen from, let's say, a module or a synth or something. And if you hold down a key, or the note, per se, that is in this key, and it moves around, but it's in the tone, or it's one of the notes in the key in which the song is written, and it can swim around a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have a definitive sound. There's these beautiful bells that are going on in the background that are kind of sequenced ish. I'm listening to it. It seems to be repeating its pattern, but it also very gently is moving from one side to the other. The very opening, I was really pulled in because of the rawness of the bass sound. And what I mean by that is all of us that are musicians, we have these, sometimes we're neurotic about having a perfect, no buzzing sound of our strings, or guitars and musicians, or stringed instruments. We want to make sure that the notes are crispy and clear. But a lot of the more powerful nuances and incredible bass playing, like Les Claypool, Primus, Flea, bass player from Korn, and so many, that allow the strings to vibrate. Maybe how hard they hit it, maybe it just resonates or kind of rattles against the fretboard, or there is a little bit of a string buzz in there from the fingers. I love those subtle nuances. Then something else that kind of caught me was like, it kind of sounded like purposefully at the very beginning, it almost sounds like you put a needle on a record, and you can hear the stylus picking up kind of the scratchiness of it. All these very unique soundscapes and really pretty ambient and ethereal sounds. I guess maybe, I don't know, I'm only 2 minutes into this, and I don't know what to expect, but excuse me, thus far, beautiful, beautiful arrangements. And then that voice that comes in. Now, obviously, you know me, I don't listen to lyrics, but in this case, it doesn't sound like it's English, and of course, by the name of the band, it's not. But I don't listen for lyrics. But whatever the words are that she's saying, the syllables, the sounds of the words are flowing beautifully with her melody, and there are slight organic imperfections in how she's doing it. And that's not a ding, that's not a slant. That's a beauty of being able to sing and have just these little microtonal flexes in there. You notice I didn't say she was sharp or flat. It's these beautiful nuances that really make you feel the performance, not to take away from just excellent epic singers that are spot on and everything. But a lot of times, much like that bass playing that I was just kind of telling you about, when you have these vocal passages like this, especially, this is very beautiful. It reminds me too of, the Russell Crowe movie, Gladiators, at the end when he's walking through the field to see his wife before he dies. It's that whole vibe. It's just absolutely beautiful. So let's continue on a little bit. Stand by. Here we go. These beautiful counter melodic arrangements that are going around in the background while she's holding her principal melody. There's these beautiful voices that are, whenever a producer, an arranger, composer, sometimes it's all in one nowadays, when they write their music, it's about choosing the sounds they want to represent the dynamics or the essence of the song, very ethereal and stuff. They already have these kind of long soundscape pad things that are happening here. The bells are still continually, slowly, just lightly going on in the background. But I'm hearing, the older I get, the better I was, so as your old decomposer here. I might not be hearing everything perfect, but I think I've still got it. There is another melody that's happening with a female voice way in the background with a lot of reverb. There's probably a bit of delay in the reverb, which means that when the vocal signal hits the reverb, that the reverb doesn't automatically trigger. There could be a few seconds, or a few milliseconds to even a couple seconds before the note hits the reverb, and then the reverb picks up and pulls along. Then I heard what sounded like male voice kind of coming around, and this is all doing this. If you listen in your headsets, they're being very, very creative from where they're positioning these sounds. And that to me is paramount in an ambient type of track. Something else that's really difficult about ambient tracks, I've said this before, simplicity doesn't necessarily always mean easy. You can overdo this and really blow it if you have too much going on, if too much is swimming around. Now, obviously, at this level, of recording, and I'm pretty much assuming they have multiple albums out. They know what they're doing out. It's still a very tricky balance of what's going on there, because you could really muddy up or wash out a lot of things going there. And another thing is that this is an excellent example of taking a particular phrase, if you follow what the bass is doing, and as the phrase moves forward, in this case, every time, I can't say every time, but these every minute and a half, the phrases, they build in their arrangement. And what I mean build doesn't necessarily have to mean louder. It just means adding different kinds of arrangements to it so that the journey continues to move forward, but it takes you forward. It doesn't keep you kind of right here. So, okay, let's finish this up a little bit more here. Wow. Wow. What a beautiful ending. Did you see me as that their whatever it was that they were using to build that percussion even halfway through the song had some nice ambience to it. It wasn't a snare. It could have been a series of drums and stuff, and they built their own sound that held, what was that square time? I don't know if it was on the 2 and the 4. I think it was. But it had a little bit of crunch to it in the sound, and it had a little bit of ambience to it. It wasn't just right here in your face, a little small, like TR-808 snare or anything like that, or EDM style snare or something. And it had some richness and some thickness to it, which I found to be a really nice, in the spectrum of the EQ in that area, maybe at about 5,000. I found that to be a very nice, almost like a line in the ambient sound. So you have all these swimming, beautiful ambient sounds and arrangements and the bells and other very light percussive sequential things happening. I don't know if they're attached. Sometimes, like for instance, hypothetically, those bells, let's say they're playing those bells, a lot of times in the programming of those bells, where they got it from a module or a synth, might have a decay or a long tail of a secondary sound that's attached to it, so they can marry two sounds. You can have the bells, and let's say you bring in a tail or a pad or something that kind of like tinkles off, if that's a term. So, but what I loved about that snare is it was like a line in the sand, and it made it, because of how it was engineered and it was thick, for me, it was like, it gave me a definition of above the line and below the line. That's an old movie thing. But the bass actually, at least, was wonderfully supportive down here. You know, the bass is all about here. So I love that whole thing. Now, obviously you saw me going like this is because I can hear and I could feel that they were bringing it up for something, like it was getting louder, that percussive arrangement, to the point where it sounded and reminded me of a little bit of tape saturation going on from the old analog days. And I'm hearing it, it's coming up, and then all of a sudden it just feels like they just shoved all the faders up on every bit of the arrangements they had there. And it was this whole wall of ambient sound, you know? And as that whole thing kind of just captivates you, it just kept going. You don't need complexity. A lot of times you can just get into some of the most I don't want to say simplest, but the most chill rhythms and stuff, and you can go a minute and just listen to it. You know, you don't have to be constantly triggered by melodies and solos and all kinds of stuff. You can just get into it, and then all of a sudden the way they end it, perfect. It was like a full perfect circle. They opened up with that effect and that sound and that opening. They closed it the same way. So I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the mix on this, you know, when they were actually engineering it and everything. So anyhow, well, thank you guys so much. I'm very excited that I had the opportunity to do Glósóli. Please help me with that. From Sigur Ros. Please help me with that. Please suggest some more from them. I would love to dive deeper into them for some first-time listens. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll use one of these on my Patreon Super Breakdowns. Yeah, I got a Patreon. Gonna have some fun with that, you know, but I think I might do this on one of my Super Breakdowns, because or a track like this, because there's so many intense layers, and diving into that, you know, a song like this might take me an hour to dissect, but something like this would be really fun. Anyhow, thank you once again for your support. If you enjoyed the video, you know, if there was any advertising, it doesn't monetize my channel. If you want to support me, buy me a cup of coffee, super cool beans. And all the links for Sigur Ros is going to be down below as well. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks for your support. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are asking what happened to my intro, yeah, it got dumped. And so I got an idea from somebody. I might snip it from one of the old things and drop it back in. I don't know. I'll figure it out from there. Or maybe I'll just build a new one. Who knows? All right, guys, take care of yourself. Aloha. All right.